Alright, so when I had this car up on a lift, I noticed that there was a coolant leak coming from the radiator. And that makes sense because this is an OEM radiator. It says Nissan on there, so it's 27 years old. And for the replacement, I got a Mishimoto Radiator, brand new. And then I got some OEM brand new Nissan radiator hoses. Because, you know, there's nothing available here in USA. Gotta get OEM parts. So this radiator looks pretty easy to change out. Couple of screws here for the shroud, the hose here, and then these two brackets. I'm hoping that I don't take off the fan here, because that's kind of difficult to do. So we just got to drain the coolant first, take off the shroud, take off the brackets, and it should just come right out. I went to drain the coolant, and there's a nice little hose there for the drain to make it clean. But as you can see, it got all over me, all over the floor too. Instead of coming out the hose, it was coming straight out of the, what you call it, the caulk or whatever.
It came out the cock?
I don't know what it's called.
Don't things come out the cock?
Yes. This one bolt right here, really hard to get out with the AC lines, power steering lines all in the way. Oh, there's coolant there too.
Alright, so while Alan's working on the radiator, I'm going to show you a couple of new additions to the car. Starting with the Type M side skirts. As you can see, they came already color matched pretty much, so looks much more aggressive now. And in the rear, we got the spats, or as some people call it, valences. This part right here, also you know, makes it look more aggressive. Then inside, these are R33 Gtr seats. Direct bolt-in, no mods necessary. So take out the old one, put this one in. Also got new Nismo floor mats. They're both sides already included, driver and passenger. Also, you got mats for the passenger, rear passenger here, and new boots for the shift knob and e-brake there. If you guys can remember how the old ones look, they're all rotten, dried up, cracking. These look much better.
Just took off this lower radiator hose that goes to the engine, and that should be enough to just pull this out. Hopefully.
You're caught in that little hose there.
It's stuck on something in here.
If you're stuck on the fan, I think.
No, it's like bolted onto, what is that? The lower fan shroud or something. Now it should come out. There we go. This is getting caught on the fan. Yeah, look how dirty that is.
I mean, it's like 30 years old, so it's to be expected.
And there was the leaks here.
Yeah, this was like right in the middle of the radiator, so it couldn't have come from anywhere else. And in case you don't know, these are plastic. So, you know, over 20 years, going through that many heat cycles is bound to start wearing.
let's go ahead and open up this radiator. Much shinier than the OEM one. Much thicker too. It's gonna be a good upgrade for when I get the RB25 in.
Alright, here's a side-by-side comparison of the two radiators. Obviously, much thicker. It's gonna cool a lot better. It's gonna take more coolant because the actual size, you know, double the size. Aluminum, so it's not gonna crack like the OEM plastic one will. And this is a good preparation for the RB25 swap. I'm also running the same radiator, or a Mishimoto at least, on my JZ. No problem so far, so this should be the same on an RB. So how do you like the RB so far?
It's a fun engine, but it needs turbo. I really miss my AW11 now, because that thing had so much power compared to this thing.
Well, the RB25 is going to have much more potential to make power.
Yeah, I'm hoping for at least 300 wheel. Nice streetable car.
I mean, right now it's just a 2-liter non-turbo. It's not bad, but you know, when people see a Skyline, they're gonna think, you know, speed.
You don't want to see a slow Skyline. Everyone always looking at me like, oh, do a wheelie or not a wheelie, a burnout.
Yeah, that's the goal, to do a wheelie. End goals, do a rolling wheelie at 60 on the highway.
Like every time someone's next to me at a stoplight, they just launch it, whereas I just kind of casually go because I know I'm not going to beat them.
You're like, meh, whatever, I'm just going to cruise.
Just pretend that I'm too good for them. That's it.
So out the box, this plug is loose, so before you throw it in, make sure you tighten this down. Otherwise you'll be throwing coolant everywhere down the street, overheating, all that dumb nonsense.
Check this one too. Okay. Ready to throw in. It.
Oh yeah, first new piece in the engine bay.
Oh.
It's like the shiniest part in here now.
So this is kind of weird. So the bracket's supposed to go on this way, but it doesn't reach the mounting point on the radiator here. So I guess we'll just flip it over. And yeah, that works fine. Alright, now we can put on the radiator hoses. Before that, I want to clean up this corrosion on this water neck here. It's got a lot built up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird how they have this whole contraption here. Like, why don't they just use one hose and into the over there?
Yeah, it's got this random little hose here.
Yeah, you got your full size from the radiator to the water neck, then it bottles down to a smaller hose and into here. It's weird. I guess it's so you can run this, but even still, you can. I don't know why you have to like shrink down the diameter.
I thought it would be a good idea to change out the radiator hoses too while we were in here, because you know this is probably 27 years old too. Check out the rust inside. This one definitely isn't as soft as this one. So this is probably gonna blow up at any time. Alright, we're gonna go to O'Reilly's to grab some coolant. And then when we get back, we're gonna bleed it. So I'm bleeding the coolant now, and I always use this funnel tool. It's like 30 bucks on Amazon, and I never ever have problems bleeding the car like this. You just add coolant and let it run until all the bubbles are gone. There's some bubbles coming out already. So you just keep letting it run until you don't see any more bubbles. Alright, just finished bleeding the coolant. And that should be it for maintenance on this car. So I can finally start working on the RB25 swap. Hopefully I'll end up with something like this. Yeah, look at that. We both got Mishimoto's. Yeah, so RB25 swap is up next.